Thank you for joining us today. My name is Chris and I'm one of the implementation specialists over here at SunLync Select. Today we're going to go over the parameters menu and also set up some of your store defaults so that way your store can operate on a day-to-day basis. In your parameters menu you have your payment types, your reason codes, your skin types, the required fields, auto-populate city state, point and credit settings, your point of sale sort options, your SunLync desktop settings, customer issues settings, your email and texting settings, which has your email settings, employee alerts, and your EFT rejections that you can set up, along with your management report settings. Now, you will need access to the back office, and you will also need access to the parameters menu with full rights. The first thing I'm going to go over is your payment types. These are currently all the payment types that are accepted as a form of payment at the point of sale. You can change the order of these to accommodate the most frequently used payment methods. Order. Now, if your cash payment is the most common, you can make that towards the top. If you want to have your MasterCard, the next available option at the point of sale, you can move that up and simply move down the payment methods that you do not want to accept or that are not as frequent. You can add new payment methods into the system by clicking on the Insert. When inserting a new payment type, pay close attention to the class, as the class will tell SunLync how to treat that payment type. Example, if a credit card is used, or if a charge card is set as a class, then the customer will be required to swipe a credit card when finishing the transaction. Also, if the payment type will be a payment method that will be included in the cash drawer at the end of the shift, and the amount will be counted, the checkbox next to Show in Drawer must be checked. Reason or reason codes. All reason codes in SunLync are predetermined from this parameter. This will allow the salon employee to select a reason why something was done or why a certain action was performed. To insert a new reason, click on the Insert button at the bottom. Then select the type of reason you want to give. So, for example, I'm going to go ahead and click on the Courtesy Tans, because that's a free tan. Okay? And I'm also going to enter in the description birthday tan. So that when giving away a courtesy tan, I can select the reason birthday tan, so that way the reports will show that it was their birthday. To create a reason for how did you hear about us, select the reason type for marketing. So click Insert, and scroll all the way down until you see marketing. When entering in a new customer, this is where you have the option to select the reason they heard about your salon. Maybe you have a Facebook page. Save. Or maybe you are on Twitter and you send out some promotions on Twitter or Facebook, and you had customers like your page and then also came into your salon and got a discount on products. So now when you sign in a new customer, you can select a reason code for marketing and simply select Facebook or Twitter or any other sort of item that you want to associate to your customer. You can also do this so that way you'll know where to spend more time marketing. Do you have to spend more time online, in the newspaper, on the radio, in your local area to attract customers? Okay. Parameters, skin types. Currently, there are no skin types that are set up in the system. However, some of your typical skin types here, you want to enter in the system, so that way you can select the appropriate skin type for that customer. So click on the insert button. Now I'm just going to stick with this generic skin type number 2. Skin type number 3. Save. Now you can enter in as many skin types as you want. I'm going to stick with those 3 for now. Close. Required fields. The fields that are checked will be required upon inserting a new customer. If there are required fields missing upon inserting a new customer, the system will force the user to enter the required information before proceeding signing in a new customer. And then always note, a client account can always be changed and adjusted at any time. Auto-Populate city and state. This is where common zip codes can be entered. When inserting a new customer, if the zip code gets entered, the city and state will auto-populate. The common zip codes. This will show a count of the number of clients that are in the system that are in a particular zip code that you have entered. So to enter in the zip code, click on the insert and put in this zip code up front or up top. City, save, insert. Save. So I have 2. Now notice how the city and state are the same. That's okay because some areas you have multiple zip codes within a certain area. Points/credit settings. By now you have seen the option to set up the points to be earned for walk-in TANs and product sales. Those points are earned and applied to the customer's points ledger when the customer makes a purchase. Now it is time to tell SunLync how to treat those points that have been earned. First, there is the naming convention. The name can be no longer than 9 characters in length. So I'm going to stick with $10. Second, payments accepted at point of sale. We use only cash at point of sale, or we use only $10 at point of sale, or we use a combination. If you're indeed looking to enhance this feature, I would definitely recommend accepting both cash and points at the point of sale. Third option, you have the ratio. You set up how many, simply right here, $1 is equal to how many points. Now this can be a 1-to-1 ratio, it can be a 4-to-1 ratio, or it can be a 10-to-1 ratio, whatever you would prefer. I have it right down here as a 10-to-1 ratio. That means every 10 points is equal to $1, so simply 10 cents a point. The fourth, you have your rounding. How are points can be rounded when used? If it takes 4.5 points to be applied to a transaction, will it be 5 points that are taken, or will it be 4.5? I'm going to leave it up here as no rounding. Then you have your tax options. As points is something the customer earns, therefore they can be redeemed for an item, and they do not have to pay tax on the item with their points. However, you can have the system allow the customer to use their points to pay the sales tax, or set up the system so that the customer will pay the sales tax in currency. Therefore, they will have to pay the sales tax in currency. Then you have your additional options. Allow customers to earn points when paying with points. That's simply meaning if you're using the points on your account to purchase an item, are you going to be allowed to earn more points with that? Treat points as a discount rather than payment. If this is checked, any points applied will reduce the transaction amount. Taxes collected will be based on the discounted amount. I like that idea. I'm going to check that. Notice how your tax options now are removed, because tax is only going to be applied to the remaining balance. So therefore, the points will not be taxed, and they cannot use points for the tax. Display points is a negative amount if less than 0. That's quite, almost common sense. You definitely don't want it to be a positive number if it's less than 0, because that would just confuse the customer and the employee. Do not allow points to go below 0 on voids and refunds or adjustments. I recommend checking that option as well. Then over on the right, you do have your credit naming convention for your packages. If you don't like the word credits as a form of type of package you can have, if you want to name that points, you can. And then save. Now your points are actually set up in the system. Your point of sale sort options. This is where the service priority can be adjusted. If the customer has an active membership, it will be listed above their active package, and so on. If they have an active package, it will be above their regular walk-in pricing. This order can be modified. To modify it, click Edit and move the selected service up or down. SunLync Desktop Settings. This is where the settings for your SunLync desktop can be configured. Your sales goals. In order to keep track of your sales goals on the desktop, they need to be tracked. If the goals would like to be set for a given day, week, month, enter the goal for that period. To insert the store settings, click on the Insert, select your store, then list if you want to track your goals. I'm going to track the daily goals, the weekly goals, and monthly goals. I'm going to put a weekly goal of 4,500 and a monthly goal of 9,000. Actually, I'll make that a monthly goal of 12,000. And then I'll make each day of the week 500. This will allow SunLync to keep track of your sales. The daily will get reset daily. The weekly goals will get reset weekly, and the monthly, of course, will be reset monthly. Save to save those configurations. Okay, PPTA tab. That's your per product TAN average, and it's calculated by dividing the product sales by the number of TANs. You can put in a goal there, and then also track it so that way SunLync can actually rank your employees by depending on what their per TAN average is. And then also you have your PTA goals. This is simply just a per TAN average, and it's calculated by dividing total sales by the number of TANs. Then you have your PRA goals, which is your per receipt average. Your messages. Now these messages are simply your corporate messages, something that you want your salon employees to see, whether it be something, a reminder, a new promotion, or even a to-do list that you want your employees to see, so that way they'll actually be able to get that done in time. The miscellaneous tab, the final tab. You have your refresh seconds, the number of seconds that the desktop will update with the real-time information. If preferred, the naming conventions can be changed for the following: PTA naming convention, PPTA, PRA, PTSA, and EFT value naming convention. Your week starting. What day of the week do you start your work week? Is it Monday? Is it Sunday? When do you start? This may not necessarily be payroll, but it's your starting week. You have your minimum TANs for employee rankings. This is the number of TANs the employee must give before they'll be able to be ranked. Okay. Then you have your miscellaneous options on the bottom. Please review these and read these thoroughly, as these 3 options down here, it is not recommended by selecting any of these options because they could actually be counted for a duplicate payment. As when the customer buys a gift certificate, when they redeem the gift certificate, that employee can get credit for the transaction twice. Save my changes and open up the configuration for the point of sale desktop. I only have one store, so I can use the default settings. However, I'm going to show you how to insert in for your store in case you have multiple stores. Click on the insert and select your store. Check the box for the desktop panels and click and hold the desktop panel in the upper right corner to where you want it to be displayed on your desktop. There can be up to 4 pages. So I'm going to begin by clicking on my sales goals, my bed statuses, my PTA employee ranking, my PRA employee ranking, and my EFT employee ranking. Simply drag and drop where you want those panels to be displayed. And then you're allowed the 4 pages. Customer issues settings. There's a place in SunLync that you can actually insert in a customer issue. This is almost like the reason codes. This is where you can select the statuses. You can enter in new statuses and enter in new subcategories. For example, I'm looking at customer service. Here you can select what employees you have that work in your customer service department. Then you click Save the List. Then if you look at your statuses, as you've seen under your equipment, is that what happens if you make a maintenance ticket. Well, here are the few options. If you haven't noticed, awaiting customer response, hardware ordered. So therefore, if you ordered information or hardware for your beds, that's a setting that you can choose from. You can insert your own. So awaiting customer response. Save. Okay. Your categories. Well, if you look here and look at your customer service, well, I'm going to choose your equipment maintenance because you've seen this before in your equipment. If you click edit here and you click on your subcategories, notice that these are all your subcategories. Well, you can add more if you wish. So if maybe it's one of your acrylics, or maybe it's something else. Maybe it's the speakers. Even though the stereo system's in there, maybe it's the actual speakers, maybe the bed talks to you. So you want to add in a new subcategory for that. Now you can add another category over here saying static sounds. This is for your equipment maintenance. And save. Close. Save. This area right here is really for salons that have their customer service department. If you do not have a customer service department, you may not need to use this feature, as you can simply keep track of your customer issues through e-link and through email. Email and texting. Email settings. These settings up here are simply just the outgoing mail server. I use my Gmail account. It is free to have a Gmail account, and I use that. All that simply does is forward the alerts using that email address. You have your EFT rejection notifications. Then also you can configure a rejection message. So every month you get customers that get rejected. So dear customer. Then you can be customized. Your membership percent MT will display the membership name. So your membership was declined for the following reason. And then you can put %DR for the declined reason. And then send it out to your customers. Email alerts. Employee alerts. Your employee alerts are the alerts in SunLync that you can receive, that you can send out to your employees. Miscellaneous settings. These two options are just to automatically do an auto response, and then email customers when rejected an EFT batch. Text Ripple. If you wanted to go to the Text Ripple account, if you wanted to view your account, you can click on the go. That'll take you to the sign on where you can sign and put in your information. Now to set up your employee alerts, simply click on the employee alerts option. Click insert. Select the employee that's going to be given the alert. I'm going to choose my name. I'm going to use my first employee clocking notification. So that way, if I'm not in the salon, I can still receive an email or a text message whenever that employee clocks in. Now you see here, it automatically defaults to my email on file. Well, I'm going to change that and make it actually turn that into my cell phone. And then you select your store. Save. In order to get an alert for every store, you have to actually create an alert for every store. Then also note, in order to receive any employee alerts, your SunLync mail service must be installed and running on the server. It is recommended to have this running on the same computer your SunLync desktop server is running from. Thank you for your time. If you have any questions, please call SunLync at 1-866-786-5962.